Hey,
Okay.
whoever gets used to that.
Kurt, you're in the spotlight.
It's more of the White House.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with you that are in the room. Jacqueline, if you want to go ahead and go first.
Hey Kurt, just now that you know that you're playing Chicago tomorrow, how does the matchup look like with JJ in the lineup now for this game? And what is the key to really defending and keeping them at bay on the offensive side?
Yeah, it's a unique matchup considering I didn't coach in either road game against Chicago when I was on leave for checking on my mom. JJ has not played Chicago one time all year. So it's a unique matchup because we haven't played each other at full strength. They're playing a different lineup. They're starting a different lineup. They're playing really well with their rotation right now, which is different than when we played them in June. So it feels like a completely different matchup, first and foremost. They pose a lot of challenges. They are tremendous offensively, and it's their tempo, it's their pace. Pace and pain, it's P squared for them. Their pace is really special, and they can really attack both off the made baskets and misses. And as you saw last night, their disruptive defense, the second half of the season, are turning turnovers into easy points for them. So everything starts with your offensive execution. Everything starts with your transition defense. You can't begin to think you can have success against Chicago if you're allowing them to play in transition all game long.
What have you seen from Chicago lately that's gotten them on this little roll? Because for most of the season, obviously, Kansas is injured. They've sort of had a lot of ups and downs.
First it's their tenacity and effort. You can really see how hard they're playing late in the season. That really translates to their tempo and offensive attack. When they play in and out of their actions with tempo, they're an elite offensive team with, typically 5 weapons on the floor at one time. Defensively is really where they've, really increased their effort. They're playing with a lot of disruption at the point of attack, meaning they're hedging, trapping ball screens, and their activity, their length, their effort have really created issues as of late for teams. So you see it's that time of the year, and you see a veteran, talented group really playing well together.
You guys had 4 Big Deal defensive team. Is there a personality type required to be a good defender? Because that's not everybody's bag.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is the effort and the tenacity to play each possession defensively with great pride. It is a skill set. It is not easy to play like Brie January, Jasmine, JJ, what we're asking of Brie Jones. It is not easy to play that way. So it is truly a mindset, an effort, stat, and then underrated in this whole thing is preparation in terms of scouting. Not only do they play under a staff that is scout heavy, they invest their own personal time in player tendencies, in team schemes. They really take pride in putting their own individual work into preparing for these opponents. And that is special. When you have a group that's bought in to invest their own time into defensive preparation, it truly is an opportunity to have a special unit, special group.
How have the last few days been for you guys? Rested, good prep? Yeah,
I'm excited with our focus and practices. Again, the peer accountability. I think we've prepared the way we wanted to prepare. The hard part is the advantage of the double bye is some rest, but there is no advantage of knowing who you're preparing for. We went into yesterday afternoon still preparing for 3 separate teams. And, not until 7 p.m. Did it become absolutely crystal clear on who we were going to play. So we were, on phone calls at 7:01. Again, now finalizing, all the preparation that needed to go on through the night and until this morning's early meetings that it was indeed Chicago. There is no advantage with the way that it's reseeded in this league that you have the advantage of knowing who you're preparing for. Chicago actually knew if they won that they were going to play us. So they probably had more of a head start on truly just focusing on us for the next round than we did, where we were splitting time amongst 3 separate teams.
When you're in that situation where you're trying to scout different teams, after you find out, okay, at Chicago, how much time then from like 7:01 to what time are you guys trying to flesh out the scouting report?
Yeah, everybody's different. I had coaches emailing me suggestions on practice, what they thought were keys near midnight last night. And I was texting staff members at 5 a.m. because I'm a morning worker on my thoughts and my feelings. So, nearly from 7:01, all the way until we began our meeting in person at 8 a.m. this morning, we were exchanging messages and everybody was on a little bit different work schedule until that 8 a.m. But it was a bunch of grinding assistant coaches and staff members, up until when we were physically all back together at 8 a.m.
How about your bench squad? Just what improvements have you seen from them in terms of both leadership and communication throughout the season? And how do you think that will help you in the summer half series?
Yeah, I think their confidence level has grown throughout the season. They're an energy group for us, and that comes in a lot of ways. Their energy on the court, but they're even more energy for our starting group off the court. They're such tremendous teammates and tremendous in the locker room. But it's been their confidence and their growth that way throughout the season that you can see translates onto the court. They're more comfortable with our schemes. They're more comfortable in their roles. And that unit is underrated. We extend minutes with this very veteran heavy starting group, but that backup unit is really important to us, bolstered now by the presence of, perennial all-star Alyssa Thomas.
And how has Alyssa Thomas looked over the last week, and what do you expect her role to really be in as this kind of 6-man over the course of the series?
Yeah, she's, I'm really happy with her. It's amazing that she's even playing. She brings us this extra coach on the floor knowledge. She's a great defender in her own right. And what you see in preseason each day is that aggression that makes her so special. You see the aggression ramping up and getting more and more like a typical Alyssa Thomas. You see the aggression coming back and working. Yeah.
Okay, now we'll move to those of you on Zoom. Alexa, you can go first.
Kurt, given what you were talking about with Chicago's ability to turn defense into offense, and your team's struggle with turnovers for pretty much all of the season, how do you try and limit those mistakes, just knowing that that's such a strength of Chicago?
Yeah, I think first is, sharing potential schemes that Chicago will throw at us, making our players comfortable and not caught off guard by some scheme or some way that they would try to defend us. First and foremost, we had good practice on what we expect to see today. And then also, just the conversation. Last year, we were 12-2 when we turned the ball over 12 or less times. That's always a big number for us with turnovers, 12. This year, we're 12-1 when we turn the ball over 12 or less times. That's 24-3 over the last 2 seasons when we've kept our turnovers at 12 or less. We've crept into that 15 range this year. And so it's higher and it's been our Achilles heel. But when you think about it, it's reducing a turnover 1 in every 13 minutes that you play. So if you can just reduce a turnover 1 time in every 13 minutes, you're back at that 12 number. So it's not a dramatic change. It's just trying to be strong with the basketball, not have loose plays, staying focused, not trying to do too much, avoid the home run plays. And we can get to that magical number in our book and why we've been 24-3 over the last 2 seasons when we get to that number of turnovers.
Just a quick other question. You might have given an update on her that I had missed, but has Dewana been practicing? Has she, I know like the last time I think I asked, she was held out of the contact parts of practice, but how's her back doing?
Yeah, she's been full go the last few practices, not avoiding any reps, not avoiding any contact. So she has been good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to ask you a couple kind of big picture questions on 2 your players. First with Brie Jones, you know, when you look back at Maryland, she was somebody who literally got better every year in every stat. And then she gets to the pros and she has that 3-year period where she doesn't play a lot and has to kind of, you know, learn, but not getting a lot of time on court. Can you talk about what it sort of took for her to get through that and make the improvements that she has? And then my second question is with JJ, what's the difference between a really, really good player and an MVP candidate, if you will? Like how small is that and what has she done to make that, to achieve that?
Yeah, first let's attack Brie Jones. Again, an absolute credit to her putting the time in to get better each and every year. And then most importantly, what not everyone is capable of doing in this league is being prepared and ready for their opportunity. I was very aggressive in 2019 talking in the preseason about how everyone was going to notice Brie Jones and she's going to have this breakout year in her 3rd year. And it didn't happen. She didn't have the breakout year that I thought. And we saw signs of it. We saw the work that she had put in, but she didn't always get the opportunity. She didn't get the longer leash. She had short stints and she had a good year. And we had a tremendous year as a team, just minutes from a championship, but it just didn't materialize the way I thought. Then all of a sudden the bubble year comes about and JJ decides to opt out because of personal reasons and COVID, COVID situation. And all of a sudden, Brie Jones is ready to take advantage of her opportunity. And she had a fantastic bubble season, as we all saw last year, emerged onto the scene. And then we signed her to an extension and made her a priority. I think people wondered if we had everybody healthy, why was that commitment made? And now you're seeing why. The offseason injury to AT, once again, opened the door up for extended minutes for Brie Jones, and she's played herself into one of the elite low post centers in the league. She is now an all defensive player. She was the AP most improved player. And so it just, remarkable. All credit goes to her and my assistants with the work they put in behind the scenes, but it is her really, really continuing to work on her game, work on her fitness, and put herself in the best position to take advantage of the opportunities that came about for her. JJ, right? What does it take to become an MVP type of player, not just a great player? It's her ability to continue to keep adding to her game and play both sides of the ball. There's not an MVP in this league through the years that hasn't been a great player on both sides of the ball. JJ continues to add to her game each year. In 2019, it was her first honor as all defensive. She became more of a rim protector, and then, has established herself for a long time now as the premier or one of the premier rebounding players in the world. The offense has been written a lot about. It's her versatility. She has incredible touch and ability to play with her back to the basket. But what makes her special is playing away from the basket and her ability to shoot the three. She's added more facilitating this year to her game offensively on the perimeter, not just a catch and shoot player on the perimeter anymore. And then she continues to add, while she played a lot of forward this year for us with the absence of Alyssa Thomas, she's had to guard four players. She's had to guard on the perimeter. Once again, was rewarded with a first team all defensive member. That's the defensive rebounding. That's the rim protection. But what, hopefully was part of the reason on why she got that nod was her ability to show she can guard on the perimeter some of these elite power forwards in the league. So it's being a two-way player, Michelle, that takes a great or even elite player to an MVP type of player.
Thank you.
Ruffy, followed by Charlotte.
Hey, Coach, this season, although you have had a successful season being number one seed, you couldn't carry that success you couldn't carry that success when you're going up against the Chicago Sky since you only got one game for them. What are you looking to do in order to have a much better winning results in this playoff series against Chicago compared to the regular season games you had against them?
Yeah, Rafi, like I mentioned early on in the press conference, this is the first time we're going to feel like we're truly at full strength coaching against Chicago. JJ, who is the AP MVP of the entire league, has not played a game against Chicago. I was absent for 2 road games in Chicago, attending to my mom. And so we have just not been at full strength when we played them. So you can throw those games out, and you can throw out Chicago. They're playing a completely different starting lineup. They're on a roll. They're playing differently. It is really hard to look at our 2 games. All I know is that we're 26-3 in games I've coached this year. And our record is unbelievable when we've had JJ. So it's hard to look at Chicago because we're different and they are different. So I'm not too worried about results. I'm more worried about where both teams are at currently.
Thank you for your time.
Hey Kurt, this is Charlotte. Just actually wanted to quickly follow up on that with JJ. Just more than nuts and bolts of having her play Chicago for the first time, what that's kind of looked like with you guys scouting that matchup together, and just even you yourself as you've kind of caught up and watched them throughout the second half of the season.
Yeah, when you look at our last box score, their post players had 12 offensive rebounds. I mean, that is an unbelievably high total, let alone it just being their post players. And without the presence of JJ, those things happen. She's one of the elite defensive rebounders in the world. So we believe that we have the ability to rebound better. You saw the offensive rebounding tenacity that Chicago had last night. Azare, 5 offensive rebounds alone, and got her hands on so many additional balls that she didn't even come up with. So they were a real factor. So we need to rebound the basketball, and JJ should help with that. Offensively, everything is run a little bit differently, and what we think is important when we have her back. So it should be a great matchup. I mean, Chicago, when you can't vote for yourself, Chicago was my preseason favorite. They have all the pieces you need to win a championship. They are dynamic offensively. They're playing their best basketball right now. And they are juggernaut offensively when they get to the tempo they want. Dallas game was crazy fast. Last night, you heard the announcers, how long a stretches that Minnesota went without Sylvia Fowles touching the ball. The tempo was won by Chicago in both playoff games. somehow we have to fight to play the tempo that Connecticut wants in this series for us to be successful.
Are there any other questions for Kurt? All right, thank you, Kurt. You're all set. We'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who have questions for Steph or Dewana, please raise your hand. That's this thing. Coffee?
Hey, everyone. I just want to ask you, this is a question for Stephanie Jones. How excited are you about playing your first WNBA playoff game tomorrow?
Oh, it's very exciting. I mean, being able to watch the games on TV, I just want to get out there and just really experience it.
And a question for Dewana. If you have absorbed the Chicago Sky and the way they won their first two playoff games, how prepared are you for the challenge of facing this team, especially since
They're a great team, playing great basketball right now. They're running in transition, they're offensive rebounding, they're playing great defense. So we just got to prepare and be ready, just as ready as possible. Now we put in the work, so now we got to go out there and play. But they're playing really fast-paced basketball right now.
Appreciate your insight and good luck.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Hey guys, Dewana, I guess you can answer this. Obviously you didn't know for most of this like last week plus off who you were playing. So what do you feel like was the biggest thing you guys were able to work on or improve on as you were able to focus on yourselves this past week?
Yeah, I know we got to clean up a lot of things offensively and defensively. We didn't know we were preparing for it, so it's kind of hard to prepare defensively for a team. But we worked on our offensive pace. Our turnovers been pretty high this season, so we tried to cut those down a little bit in practice and did a lot of film work. So we worked a lot on ourselves, but our main focus was our turnovers. It's been too high if we want to go out and win this series against Chicago.
I mean, what kind of goes into just cleaning that up? Is it just being more intentional with the ball or just knowing?
Yeah, being more decisive, being more crisp, understanding that all the time, cutting hard, screening, spacing. A lot goes into offense when you not overthinking. I think sometimes we try to make the home run play instead of making an easy pass. So we just looked at the look film, looked at our turnovers, and see how we can make the simple plays instead of trying to the touchdown pass.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Yeah, Dewana, this is for you. You've won championships playing for different coaches. How would you describe what Kurt brings as a coach, coaching a team going for a championship? How does he sort of inspire a team?
Oh man, he just puts people in great positions to score the ball. He never puts us in uncomfortable situations. I always try to put JJ where she can score, myself, Alyssa, Brie Jones, Jazz runs the team, but Kurt always, he's always thinking, I don't know if he slept this whole time we've been off. He just been kind of put, every time we come into practice, he's like, okay, here's the play. We like, okay, well, we just take it all in. He's excited to get there, but he's just such a X and O's guy, and especially offensively, he just puts us in great positions to be comfortable.
And I just from a general defensive standpoint, when you have a point guard like Sloot, and obviously you faced her for many years, who can both pick apart offenses and also has become quite a good scorer. What are the challenges that type of point guard presents?
Oh man, she's great. She's one of the best ever. She's lead our league in assists in how many years? So it's hard to slow her down. You just gotta try to contain her, but just one of the most smart, intelligent people on the court. You can never, figure her out. She never speeds up. She always plays her space, and she kind of gets them going. They feed off her. So we got to do whatever we can to slow her down, get her thinking a little bit more, and hopefully come out with a victory. But definitely one of the best point guards in the game right now.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alex?
Hey there, this is Alex Asley with NBC Sports. Dewana, I have a question for you. Last week during immediate availability, Brie in January talked about how, I think it was before the season began, you had called her and was like, hey, this is going to be a good year. And I was wondering, do you remember that? And can you just kind of tell me why you decided to reach out to her and how that came about?
I think she was talking about when we both signed here. Actually, she was looking to go elsewhere at the time when we both started, come to Connecticut. And I saw it first and I called her. I knew she was gonna, leave Phoenix Festival. Me and Brie known each other since draft, we were the same draft class, so I've known her a long time. And I called her, I'm like, hey, come to Connecticut, come on, like, we're gonna be good. We're gonna have a great team, like, they're already a great organization. And she was like, what, Connecticut, no way. She's like, no way. I'm like, if we win, we better be competing for a championship. I'm like, we will. So, and now we have this opportunity, and I'm like, see, I told you. So hopefully we pull it off, and it all worked out, and I'm gonna rub in their face. I'm like, you remember that conversation I called you, and you kind of was hesitant on Connecticut, and I told you it would come true. So hopefully I can have that ha-ha moment with her.
That's awesome. Just to confirm, so is that back in 2020?
Yeah, but before whenever the free agent, I don't even know when my free agency was.
Beginning of 2020.
Yeah,
Got it. Thanks so much.
Thank you both so much. You're all set.